What if one glance could unravel your entire life? Hey, beautiful souls, welcome back to my channel. I'm Emily, and this is where I spill the tea on cheating stories that'll leave you shocked, heartbroken, and maybe a little curious. Before we dive in, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell so you don't miss a single confession. Picture this: a rustic barn, a stolen moment, and a man who was never supposed to touch me, my husband's father. His rough hands, the heat pooling in my lower belly, and a secret that left my panties soaked with his scent. Want to know how it all went down? Trust me, this story is a roller coaster of desire, betrayal, and a family twisted in ways you won't believe. Grab your coffee, get cozy, and let's unravel the scandal that broke my world apart. I'm Emily Carter, a 25-year-old newlywed who thought I had it all: a loving husband, a charming home, and a future full of promise. But one summer, everything changed when I locked eyes with David, my husband's rugged, 50-year-old father. What started as innocent glances turned into a forbidden dance that left me trembling, my heart racing, and my life in ruins. This isn't just a cheating story. It's a confession about temptation, guilt, and a choice that redefined what family means. I'm ready to bear it all, even if it means facing your judgment in the comments. Let's get started. My story begins with love, the kind you think lasts forever. I married Nick 6 months ago in a sunflower-drenched ceremony on his family's farm in Colorado. It was magical: the golden fields, the rustic barn, and Nick's boyish grin as he said, "I do." At 27, Nick was everything I'd dreamed of: smart, kind, with a laugh that made my heart flutter. We met in college, bonding over late-night study sessions and cheesy rom-coms. After the wedding, we settled into a cozy house on the edge of his family's farmstead, a sprawling property with rolling hills, a red barn, and endless skies. I was head over heels, ready to build our forever. Nick's father, David, was a big part of our life. A 50-year-old widower, he'd lost his wife to cancer 5 years earlier, and the farm was his refuge. David was the kind of man who turned heads: tall, with salt and pepper hair, calloused hands, and a quiet intensity that made you feel seen. His flannel shirts smelled of earth and cedar, and his deep voice could make a weather report sound profound. He welcomed me like a daughter, always ready with a warm smile or a story about the farm's history. I adored him, but I never imagined he'd become my undoing. Life as newlyweds was a whirlwind. Nick was buried in a new software engineering project, often working late or jetting off for meetings. I poured my energy into our home, planting flowers, painting walls, and dreaming of the family we'd start. David was a constant presence, dropping by with fresh tomatoes or fixing a creaky porch step. We'd sit on the porch, sipping iced tea, talking about gardening or his memories of Nick as a kid. It felt like family, safe, warm, uncomplicated. But somewhere along the way, safe started to feel dangerous. It all began at a family barbecue, 3 months into our marriage. The farm buzzed with energy, kids chasing fireflies, the grill sizzling, and country music drifting through the air. Nick was off tossing a football with his cousins, leaving me at the picnic table with David. I wore a light sundress, the kind that flutters in the breeze, and I caught David's gaze lingering as I reached for a glass of lemonade. His eyes weren't fatherly, they were raw, hungry, like a wolf spotting prey. A shiver ran through me, and a sudden heat bloomed in my lower belly, my panties growing damp in a way that made me blush. I told myself it was the heat, the wine, anything but what it was. "Careful, Emily," he said, his voice a low rumble, handing me a napkin. "That dress is trouble." He smirked, but his eyes held mine, dark and searching. My breath hitched, the air between us crackling. I laughed it off, but the moment lodged in my chest, a secret I couldn't shake. That night, lying beside Nick, I felt the ghost of David's gaze, my fingers brushing my skin, my panties wet with thoughts I shouldn't have. Nick's work trips intensified after that. He'd be gone for days, leaving me alone in our too-quiet house. David's visits became more frequent, fixing a fence, bringing zucchini, or just checking in. Each time, the air felt heavier. His scent, cedar, sweat, and something distinctly male, lingered when he left, and when he stood close, showing me how to stake tomatoes, his arm grazing mine, my skin burned. I'd lie awake, my body betraying me, my panties soaked as I imagined his hands, his voice, his weight. The guilt was a vice around my heart. He was Nick's father, my father-in-law. But the wanting wouldn't stop. The turning point came when Nick left for a week-long conference in Seattle. I was restless, the house echoing with emptiness. David called, offering to help with a garden project, a flower bed by the barn I'd been planning. I agreed, hoping hard work would drown my thoughts. That afternoon, he arrived in a faded denim jacket, his hair tousled, his eyes catching the sunlight. We spent hours digging, planting, and laughing, dirt smudging our faces, the sun warming our backs. By dusk, we were exhausted, giddy, and covered in earth, the flower bed blooming with color. "Let's grab a drink," I said, nodding toward the barn where I kept a cooler. "You've earned it." He followed, his boots thudding on the wooden floor. The barn was dim, smelling of hay, old wood, and summer dust, with golden light slanting through the slats. I handed him a beer, our fingers brushing, a spark that set my nerves alight. My lower belly pulsed, a slick warmth spreading, my panties already clinging to my skin. I stepped back, my breath uneven, but David's gaze pinned me, dark and unrelenting. "Emily," he said, his voice rough as gravel, setting the beer down. "You know what's happening here." My heart pounded, a drumbeat of fear and desire. I wanted to deny it, to run, but my body had other plans. He closed the distance, his hand grazing my arm, then settling on my waist, pulling me gently but firmly against him. His scent, cedar, sweat, and raw masculinity, flooded my senses, and I trembled, my hands gripping his jacket as if it could anchor me. His fingers found the hem of my sundress, lifting it slowly, the fabric whispering against my thighs. The cool barn air kissed my skin as he raised the dress higher, bunching it around my hips, exposing the thin, damp fabric of my panties. I gasped, my nails digging into his shoulders, as his hand slid lower, pressing against me with a deliberate, burning warmth. My body arched, a betraying slickness coating my skin, my panties soaked through, carrying the mingled sense of my desire and his presence. Each touch was a spark, his fingers tracing slow, maddening patterns that made my breath catch, my legs trembling as I leaned back against a wooden beam. The barn seemed to hum around us, the world shrinking to his rough hands, the creak of the floor, and the rhythm of our ragged breaths. His touch deepened, a steady pressure that sent waves of heat crashing through me, my lower belly a furnace of need. I clung to him, my body moving with his, the slickness between us a silent confession. My panties, now heavy with our connection, slipped lower, tangled up my thighs, their damp fabric a testament to the line we'd crossed. The wave built, unstoppable, until it broke, leaving me shuddering against him, my breath a sob, my heart a battlefield. David pulled back, his eyes searching mine, his own breath uneven. "We can't," he whispered, but the words felt hollow. I sank to the hay-strewn floor, tears streaming down my face, the weight of my betrayal crushing me. My panties, discarded in the hay, glistened in the dim light, their scent a haunting echo of what we'd done. He helped me up, his touch gentle now, and we left the barn in silence, the night swallowing our sin. Nick came home 3 days later, and I was a wreck. I couldn't hide it, my red eyes, my trembling hands. I sat him down, my voice breaking, and confessed everything. His face crumpled, a mix of shock and pain, and he stood, grabbing his keys. "I need time," he said, his voice barely a whisper, and walked out. I didn't stop him. I'd shattered his trust, his family, his world. David stayed away, his truck absent from the farm, the silence louder than any scream. I found my panties in the laundry, still damp, their scent a knife in my heart. I threw them out, but the guilt stayed. Nick moved to a hotel, and a week later, he sent divorce papers. I didn't fight it, I'd lost that right. The farm became a ghost town, Nick's family divided. Some called me a homewrecker, others pitted David, a lonely man led astray. I moved to a tiny apartment in town, drowning in shame. Therapy helped me unpack the guilt, but David haunted my dreams, his hands, his scent, the heat that wouldn't fade. My panties were wet in the night, a cruel reminder of what I'd lost and what I still craved. I tried to move on, but the farm pulled me back. Nick reached out, not for reconciliation, but for closure. He was dating someone new, but the farm was struggling without him. David was a shadow of himself, the fields untended, the barn a monument to our mistake. I couldn't let it die. I offered to help, to work with David, to keep the family's legacy alive. It was a risk, but it felt right. Working with David was torture and salvation. We kept our distance, but the tension was a living thing, a current that hummed between us. One evening, after a long day of planting, we ended up in the barn, the air thick with memories. No words, just a look, and then his hands were on me, my dress falling away, my panties soaking through as his touch reignited that fire. His fingers pressed against me, slow and deliberate, the slickness between us a language of its own. My lower belly burned, my breath a moan as I arched into him, the hay beneath us a rough cradle. The wave came faster this time, crashing over me, leaving me trembling, my panties tangled at my ankles, their scent a mix of us both. It wasn't love, not cheating, it was survival, a way to heal the wounds we'd made. Nick knows now, and in a twist I never expected, he's okay with it. He's building a new life, and David and I are finding our way, not as lovers, but as family, bound by something deeper than labels. My pregnancy complicated everything. The baby could be Nick's or David's, we don't test, don't ask. It's ours, a bridge between our broken pieces. The farm is thriving again, and so are we, in our messy, unconventional way. I'm not sure if I'm confessing or celebrating. Maybe both. I know some of you will judge me, and I'm ready. This is my truth, a story of desire, betrayal, and a family that bends but never breaks. Thank you for watching, my loves. This was my rawest confession yet. Drop a comment, am I a monster or just human? Have you ever faced a temptation you couldn't resist? Like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more cheating stories that'll keep you hooked. I'll see you in the next one. Stay fierce, and take care.